my personal belief. And of course, Wendi and her mother, Donna, are unindicted co-conspirators. So if you haven't been following this case, the shooters have been convicted. The middle woman has been convicted. And now Wendi Adelson's brother, Charlie, has been convicted on all 3 counts. And it's so delicious. I think we should take one more look at his conviction. So if you think I'm being harsh by playing this over and over again, this is a man and a whole family that's obsessed with revenge. And according to Jeff Lacasse, he took sex tourism trips to South America so he could have relations with children or underage women, if you want to use a euphemism. He assaulted his girlfriend for embarrassing him. So this is why I enjoy watching him get convicted so much. I think we should just take one quick look, and then we'll jump into Wendi Adelson's amazing interrogation. And no, we are not watching all 5.5 hours of it. I think the beginning is the most interesting, where she's faking crying. So let us watch together.
Everyone but the foreperson can be seated. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you please could.
And you know how good psychopaths are at reading people, and he has read the jury. He knows what's coming. He's hoping it's not. He's rationalizing what he knows to be true. But the morning when this verdict was coming down, he looked like he was going to throw up most of the day. And this is a family with weak stomachs.
Hand the verdict form to the bailiff. The verdict form is in its proper order. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the Second Judicial Circuit in and for Leon County, Florida, the state of Florida versus Charles Adelson, case number 2016 CF 3036B, verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2.
And he
We,
goes
the jury,
down.
find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So say we all this 6th day of November, 2023.
And that is delicious. So Wendi comes into the police station. She's learned the news that her ex-husband, Dan Markel, has been murdered. And he has custody of the 2 children. They're in school. And she has driven by the scene, gone way out of her way. She had to get liquor. Of course, she bought Bullet bourbon. It's like one of a million different coincidences in this case. But she drives by the crime scene. It's like she knew it was going to happen. And the shooters were supposed to do this in June, and one of them, thankfully, Luis Rivera, the Latin king, head of the Latin kings in that area, he said, we can't kill the kids in front of their father. And so they went home. But during that week in June, Jeffrey Lacoste, who was really the fall guy, was supposed to be the chump who she was going to blame this all on. He said she had a nervous stomach, was sick, unwell that whole week where it was supposed to go down in June. So here she is. She comes in and she knows she's going to be a suspect. And she's already been told by her mom that she's a great actress. Let me know if you think she's a great actress. So very different than the polished Wendi that we see in court. She's got her hair up, but she's got this very odd owl shirt that everyone is, like the bullet bourbon, like the code words. There's all these sort of secret messages in this court case. Double meanings.
Who was your voicemail?
It's from Lisa Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah, that's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should.
It's all right, just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
Do you want to just hit play?
She said she thought there was a power line down. She thought there was, even though she's a lawyer, she works with human trafficking victims. She thought that it was just like a power line down and that she was just going out of her way. This is what she testified to multiple times, that she went such a long route out of her way, not to see if her husband was shot, but that she had such a bad sense of direction, she didn't want to get lost. So she went to a different liquor store. Okay, now that you know the background, the hysterical crying is about to start, or the hysterical fake boohooing.
Play again for me.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. Hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right. You can stop it. Or does it stop automatically?
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you? So you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay. Wendi with an I. All right. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So she's got the high-pitched cry voice, but she's going to put her hands over her eyes and try to sum up the tears while she can. But listen to her breath here. She's trying to imitate the irregular breathing that you have when you cry. But when you're faking it, it just sounds so odd. And she can talk fine when you really do have that irregular breathing, because so much of your talking comes from your breath Every singer knows that. But with her, she can talk perfectly well through the entire thing, but she's doing the hard, heavy breathing, and it will really get intense in the beginning here.
I know that's true. It's funny. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, and then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Oh my God.
So I buried the lead a little bit in this. Wendi Adelson and her mother, Donna Adelson, are expected to be indicted next in this. My money is on Donna. There's more evidence that has been in the public domain, at least, against her mother, Donna, than Wendi. They did a good job of insulating Wendi, but the whole family, according to Jeff Lacasse, who was dating Wendi at this time prior to Dan Markel's murder, said the family hobby, pastime, was hating Dan Markel. So this is a man she hated. They were in a contentious divorce, and she wanted to move herself and the kids to Miami. The judge had rejected that request, and so she was stuck in Tallahassee until the kids had gone through school. So I'm going to echo Jeffrey Lacasse's sentiment that it's a very immature attitude towards being in a place that you might not be your favorite place to live. A more mature person would say, oh, I'll wait till the kids get older, then I can move anywhere I want, Miami, anywhere else. So instead, they chose this solution, and this is how it turned out, with her brother probably doing a life sentence in prison.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you have nothing to be sorry about.
I just don't understand. How could this happen?
Can you let me get over this hump, okay? Can we do that first? All right. Can you tell me what time you left your house this morning?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't leave this morning. I didn't leave until noon.
Okay. And
Oh my God.
See, look at that quick recovery. And she realizes she slipped up, and she goes, oh my God. Like that. I think she's realizing she slipped up there. And then he goes, what? and then she tries to make it about something else. There are also, in addition, she's using some of her real nervousness at being in a police station. She knows that she's going to be the person looked at. This divorce was legendary between two lawyers. Very, very contentious.
And I tried to drive up Trescott, and I saw that it was blocked.
it was blocked at some point. I'm not sure what time it was
And I
blocked.
just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something. Because
Oh,
sometimes
you're saying as you drove down which one of the side roads?
when I'm going to a friend's party tonight, and it's oh my God, what am I even talking about? I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
Okay.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ABC Liquor, and it was blocked, so I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention.
Right.
Because everybody goes and buys their liquor, not right before the party, but in the early morning hours, right? I think like this is right after he went to the gym. I thought it was around 10 or 11. So it's just ridiculous. And of course, she had to buy bullet bourbon. She's now the spokeswoman for it. She drove by the crime scene because she couldn't, as Georgia Kappelman, the prosecutor, said in trial, she couldn't help herself.
And so I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes when I lived there were electrical things that would happen. I left my house around 12:15 because I thought I'll get the bourbon and then I'll get some gas for the car and maybe get super glue for one of the boys' toys. And I was trying to do all I can before meeting my two friends at 1.
Okay, who was at your house this morning?
The only person that was at my house this morning was the guy from Best Buy because my TV was broken and it's under warranty.
For you.
So according to Jeff Lacasse, this TV was hit with something really heavy. And she insisted that the kids have a movie night and that they could only watch it on this broken TV. And her brother made a joke that he bought her a TV because it was more expensive as a divorce present, I think. This was more expensive. Birthday present? It was some kind of present because it was cheaper than a hitman. And he made that joke constantly. The family constantly made this joke by TV. The TV was often an undercover word for the hit. And here she has this really cheap TV that she has to have a person come and fix. Like I don't know too many people who even have their TVs fixed. The technology is moving so fast. At least in New York, most people are throwing them out on the street. So she had this TV repairman at her house to give her an alibi for the time of the murder. Like I said, there's a million things like that that have double meanings in this case. The owl shirt, the bullet bourbon, see the all-seeing, all-knowing owl, bullet bourbon. And so now she's like, oh. And she talked to an officer, I believe, at the scene, and he testified.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, a guy from Best Buy was at your house to work on your TV?
I have his name and everything at the house if you want it, because the boys broke the TV. So he gave me a choice of fixing it or getting a new one. And
What time did he come to the house?
he called me at around 8. He was probably there until around 10.
Okay. Okay. And then
and then after he left, I kept working on a paper, and I emailed the paper to a librarian at school to work on some of the citations.
Okay.
And I don't think I talked to anyone else, but I was just working for an hour or so from the house. I was going to take a shower, but I didn't. I ran out of time. I did laundry. And then I left the house around noon.
To go to the liquor store and the stuff for the party?
Yeah.
Okay, you went down which road you said?
I went down Trescott.
Okay.
I saw a police car there, and I just thought it was blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest.
How many times is there a police officer there when a power line is down?
To Centerville, went up Benton, took Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
It's usually the shortcut to get to Monroe.
To get to Monroe?
I usually take it as a cut through to get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so
I don't know why I said Monroe. I was thinking Mosaic, Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
And just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with the divorce. But yeah, sometimes I drive there if I'm too.
She does it as a way of coming to terms with the divorce, just driving by the house. It's not my stalkerish behavior, making sure the hit was done. It's just me, making peace with the divorce. Craziness. And so kudos to her for her face being red. But she can talk. When you really have been cried this hard, it's hard to talk. You're so upset. And the breath comes usually before the tears, the uneven, irregular breath. But the police spot it. She is a woman who can fool men. Not so easily other women, but she can fool men. And I think she fooled the police officers for a long time. They may have suspected, but they isolated her. And I don't know if she'll ever be charged. She's testified that she will never be charged, never arrested for this crime. Just to give you an idea about her family and her brother, and from an incident report. Okay, so this is from a friend of Charlie Adelson, Wendy's brother, who they're giving the name Steve to. So it's an alias. I spoke to Steve, who called the tip line with information relevant to the investigation. So the investigation of Dan's murder. Steve provided background on Charlie Adelson, Wendy's brother. According to Steve, Charlie is very manipulative, conniving, and capable of a murder or a murder for hire. Charlie has made a life of getting even with people, but in a very stealthy manner that leaves little trace back to him. Steve later provided information that Charlie had paid 2 Fort Lauderdale police officers to fake evict someone from their own business. Charlie also owns guns, to include a short black revolver. Steve has also seen Charlie possess guns on prior occasions. And I later spoke to Steve again, who explained that it was he who had been evicted by the paid off police officers. So that'll give you a little idea. This is a family really into revenge and getting their way too. Very entitled family.
Sad, I drive around.
Okay.
If the kids aren't home and I know they're not home, I feel better about driving by the house. But yeah, it's shorter and I just usually drive by.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton.
All the way down Centerville and around Benton. It's just
Right.
a shortcut I always took.
Okay, so you turned around and went back to Centerville, I take it?
Yeah.
Down to Benton and went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville?
Yeah.
The one at Benton Road?
ABC Liquors, it's at, Benton. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Did you make a purchase there?
Yeah,
And that was sometime after 12?
probably 12:30.
Okay. All right.
And I talked to a guy there because I don't really buy much alcohol. And so they wanted bourbon. And I asked the guy, we had a whole conversation about bourbon and
Right.
my eyes.
Your eyes?
He just said, your eyes are really blue.
Right.
And
You have contacts?
I do.
Okay.
But I just remembered it.
Right.
So I bought the bourbon and got some gas on Thomasville and met my friends at Mosaic.
The guy had to point out how pretty I am and how blue my eyes are. Yeah, she is a very charismatic person. And men like her. But boy, is she's not someone you want to get involved with. According to Jeffrey Lacasse, who dated her for quite some time, says she just lies with ease, and he feels she's a psychopath.
Which gas station did you go to on Thomasville?
The one that's, I always forget the name, but the one that's close to the cross street, it's right next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
If you're heading north on Thomasville. If you're heading north on Thomasville, it's on your right.
Okay. Just past the Goodwill
Just
place?
past the Goodwill. It's close to the intersection there.
Okay. All right. And then from that point, you went straight to the
Went to Mosaic
Mosaic restaurant?
and met friends there. I used to have kind of a steady Friday meeting and I hadn't seen my 2 friends in a while. And so we had made plans to meet up.
What time did you get to Mosaic?
About 1. I was a little late. We were supposed to meet at 1 and I got there a few minutes after.
Okay. All right. I know it's cold in here. Okay.
I think that's not why.
Okay. I know it's part of it, but
She's probably really worried she's going to be arrested. She is shaking. And then she starts trying to fake cry. But like I say, the breath is really key. And her voice is so strong. So strong.
but Do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
He's oh God.
I hate to ask it now, but I have to do it now. You
I
understand, right?
understand. I understand. He. I mean, he had friends. He always meant well, but he would sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
But not anyone who would do something like this.
Anybody that he owes money to?
No, he owes money to me,
He owes money to you?
but not,
Okay.
not me.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my God, we're kids. I know a lot of people didn't really love him, but I don't know anyone who would do something like this.
Well, we're still.
I do. Your family. Hey, you and your family. I know someone. There are some families like this that are almost become cult-like. It's like them against the world. Another interesting factoid about the Adelson family. So this is from a tip from a guy named Clark. Clark also helped start up the dental school at Nova South. As a favor for Harvey, Clark was able to get Charlie in the school, even at the disagreement with other faculty members. As Charlie progressed in school, he was failing and was not doing his required work in the classes. When Clark brought this up to Charlie, Charlie got defensive and then accused Clark of harassing him sexually at school. Clark was able to disprove the allegations, but this severed the friendship between him and Harvey. That's Charlie's father. So that's Wendy's father as well. Clark explained that Harvey was somehow able to use his influence on the Nova board to include a local judge in Broward County to get Charlie passed through with a degree. So we heard about how hard Charlie worked in school and how hard he works now, et cetera, et cetera. But that's probably closer to the truth. But I think she's feeling nervousness now that she's going to get indicted, get arrested here. She knows she's the number one suspect, and out come the boohooing. By the way, got a press release from ABC. There's going to be a 2020 special on this Friday on this case.
Still trying to determine, what happened and how it happened.
But he wouldn't do this to himself.
Okay.
He was a very positive person.
Okay.
He
No one that you know of or that you've spoken to recently that he's had some type of problem with or that he was concerned about?
No one that he was concerned about. I mean, we've been separated for 2 years, so I don't know,
Right.
If he had something going on, I wouldn't know about it. But I mean, I had lost my voice earlier this week, and so we had put off this conversation about our son's school and where he was going to go, and he
Wait, she put off the conversation because she lost her voice? Someone who has lost my voice, that has never stopped anything, save maybe, I don't even think this show. I've done it even with a really bad voice. At least one show that I'm remembering recently. But she can't have a conversation. She can't whisper it. You can't whisper it, Wendy. You can't whisper the conversation about your kids. Because it's going to be a moot point when he gets murdered, right? So ridiculous. Yeah, it's going to be a moot point. She knew that. She's like, why have this conversation when I know the hitmen are already in town? These hitmen drove 7 hours in a Prius to murder her ex-husband. She knows all this is going down. She lost her voice. Hilarious.
I can't. I know a lot of people didn't love him, but not anyone who would like hate him.
Okay.
He meant well. Everyone that knew him
Okay.
knows that he means well, but he's can be a little like argumentative,
Right.
but not he didn't owe anyone money. He didn't do anything except work and take care of his kids. He wasn't involved in anything bad.
Okay.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know. And he was a professor at the law school. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And your divorce has been 2 years, or the total separation, I'm assuming?
Total separation's been 2 years. Our divorce was finalized last summer around this time.
Okay.
He wouldn't do this to himself. He has a girlfriend now.
Do you know his girlfriend?
I met her once in the last couple of weeks. She was visiting. She lives in New York.
Okay. Do you know anything about her?
I know some things about her.
So she's going to throw out the new girlfriend as a possible suspect. Little more on Charlie at his school, dental school. He did not meet 25% of the requirements to earn his degree. And amongst the allegations, he was somehow just given a degree and has been practicing periodontics with his father ever since. I think he testified he was working at 38 different dental clinics, which other people have commented that that's a warning sign that he never had enough of a good reputation on his own to have a practice of his own. But I'm not a periodontist. I don't know.
She's also a law professor. I know she's recently divorced and she has a son. I don't know if her divorce is final, but I think recently divorced.
Where's she a law professor at?
At NYU. And they seemed very happy. And I mean, I think that was a really good thing in his life. He seemed really happy about it. She came down here, she met the boys, and I met her and she told me how great she loved the boys. You know, like it seemed fine.
She ever stay at the house with him?
Just that one time.
When was that?
I remember because I just got back from being with my family in South Florida.
See, she caught herself. She knows you cannot keep up that irregular breathing, forcing it. So she catches herself and then she starts it again, stops. She can speak just fine. She's thrilled this thing went down. Thrilled.
Sorry. It's okay. You're doing great.
So what date was it? I went with my family. It was my dad's 70th birthday and we went home for it. So his birthday was the 5th. I left Monday the 30th. So she must have come into town Saturday, the evening of the 28th.
What month? June. This past June.
Just now. So June 28th. And then she was there with the boys the 29th, and then I met her on the morning of the 30th when I picked up the kids to take them to South Florida.
Do you know when she left?
I could probably find it like in the email and stuff. I think she was here for like one more day, and then Danny went up to New York because I was with the kids in Miami for a good long while. I was there. I drove back July 10th, so I was there almost 2 weeks. And so I think he went up the next day.
Okay. Do you know her name?
I do. It's Amy Adler. Oh my gosh.
A-D?
A-D-L-E-R.
Not for nothing, but Amy Adler is a beautiful woman. Stunning woman. And I'm sure Wendi, who really prided herself on her looks and her reputation and her achievements, was very threatened by this woman who was much more well-respected, had a much better career, and much more beautiful, frankly, than Wendi Adelson. She must have hated her.
And she's a professor of law at
Yeah.
NYU.
Yeah.
What kind of car does she drive?
I have no idea. I didn't know she has a car. She lives in New York City.
Well, so I mean, she was driving down. I mean, she flew down here, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good guess. Most of us New Yorkers don't drive.
Do you have her phone number?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know how long they were dating even. It seemed kind of serious if she met the kids, but I don't really know. He's been going up to New York for like conferences and stuff since Lincoln was about a few months old. So he's been going up there 3.5 years. So my guess was that they might have known each other for a long time, but have been dating. I don't know how long.
Well, let me ask some. Does his relationship with her have anything to do with Charles' divorce?
No.
No, it had nothing to do with
No.
an extramarital affair or anything.
No, but the only thing I'm thinking is Amy. I don't know what Amy's old divorce situation is like. So if you're gonna think of someone who's not thrilled with Danny, I don't know how happy her husband or ex-husband is with the situation.
Do you know anything about him?
I don't know anything about him.
Just imagine, you know your family's responsible and you're happy to have put a stranger. She set up Jeff Lacasse as the patsy for this. She knew he was taking a trip that would take him by her old house, Dan Markel's house, right around the time of the murder. She knew he was leaving right around the time of the murder. They had broken up, but her last question, she called after Jeff Lacasse. Her last question was they were actually more like questions, all about his trip. When are you leaving? If you go, wouldn't you go? He thought it was bizarre. Why is this person who I just broke up with, or we just broke up together, who really has no interest? First, he was bewildered why she was stringing him along in June and early July. And for what? And it was so he could be the fall guy. He was so mad about their breakup. Coincidentally, he looks a lot like Dan Markel, that he did this hit. It could have made his life a living hell. And when he got on the stage, he's testified in pretty much every trial concerning this case. And when he got on the stand in Charlie Adelson's trial, Wendy's brother, you could see that Charlie was looking at Jeff Lacasse with just like, this guy is awful, because he is like public enemy number one for this family.
So you know Amy Adler, she's a professor at NYU. She was down here from the end of June through the first part of July.
I think just a few days.
Right.
Yeah.
As visiting, but he'd been seeing her when he goes to New York on these conference trips.
Well, he's in New York in the summertime. We have a week on, week off schedule with the boys. So whenever I have them for a week, he goes up to New York for a week. So he's been spending a lot of time up there.
Did he relate to you that he'd been seeing her up in New York, or that's where they met, or anything of that nature?
He didn't tell me about it, but I feel like he was pretty vocal with the girlfriends and people probably since December about her being his girlfriend. So
Okay. Who would be his best friend?
When we were still together, he had two best friends. Neither of them are in Tallahassee.
So she was like, she just was like winding up to do the wailing crying thing. And he asked her a question and she could just answer it flat out, full voice. It's so silly when you watch this in retrospect. But I imagine, and not, it's easy for us to Monday morning quarterback on this cop, but not for nothing. People have remarked on the Adelsons' eyes and how they, especially Wendi, keeps them wide, wide, wide open. It's much more noticeable because it's such a bad copy. Obviously, it's an interrogation tape, not known for its photography. But when you watch her in court, you can see her eyes wide open, almost hypnotic. And she seems to be having a hypnotic effect on a cop. When is the last time you heard an interrogation where the cop tells the witness, "You're doing well. You're doing a good job"? And I know that she's partially a victim as well, but he's got to be concerned, no? She might be involved?
See. Oh my god, I'm completely blanking on their last names right now.
That's okay.
Matt Price, that was his best man at our wedding. And Josh Berman, who Matt is in DC and Josh is in New York. Actually, he has a friend. I don't know if they're so close, but he and the boys sleep over at their house a lot. They're in Cairo, Georgia.
Okay.
That's probably his closest friend here.
Do you know his name?
His name's Alex Greenberg. He's a veterinarian in town, and they've got kids around the same age as our kids.
He's a vet here in town?
Mm-hmm. And I think
Do you know
they're
where his
close.
office is?
I don't. Maybe in Cairo.
Oh, he doesn't have an office in
I
Tallahassee.
don't think so.
He's a vet in Cairo.
Their house is in Cairo. His wife is a dentist. I don't know if her practice is in town or in Cairo either. His wife is Maya, M-Y-A.
Okay. You're being very helpful. Okay, I know it's hard.
I'm trying.
You're doing fine.
believe what's happening.
You're doing fine. I know it's all the shock. I know it's coming to you all at once. Okay.
I don't know who would do this.
Okay. Well, it appears from what we've seen so far that someone intentionally hurt Annie. Okay, intentionally. Okay, I don't
Do you
think.
know who it is?
No, and I don't
What if
think.
they come after the boys?
I don't think that's going to be. I have no indication at this time that that's a threat. Okay, but the boys are going to stay with you. You're not going back over to Trescott. Okay.
No, I don't live there anymore.
I know you don't. But the boys are going to stay with you. Okay, and they'll be fine.
I don't know if I can take care of them like this.
All right. Where's your?
See, so she's making an alibi, like she's making a story for why she has to take the kids immediately to Miami, like she always wanted to, which is the whole point of Dan Markel's murder, so she could relocate herself and the children, mostly herself, to Miami. Her mother, of course, Donna, wants more time with the grandkids. An interesting thing, they really infantilized Wendi. And every time she drove down to Miami, one of her parents would come up and drive with her. And I do have a driver's license, but I don't drive in New York. But that is so foreign behavior to me. So wacky.
Closest family at?
My family actually just talked to my brother this morning. My parents are in Coral Springs.
Okay.
And my brother, I have two brothers, but I'm very close to one of them who is in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. All right. So that's where you're from originally, I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
His family's in Canada.
Her older brother had a break with a family. He is a doctor in upstate New York. He fell in love with a non-Jewish woman, and that the parents could not accept that. So he ended up divorcing her, marrying someone else, and I believe remarrying her. That is what I've heard. Not sure if take that with a grain of salt. I've investigated it for myself.
No, did you tell them?
No, they haven't been notified
Oh my
yet.
God. As a parents, we are devastated.
Okay. This is what I want to do, okay? This is what happened, okay? Daniel's been shot, okay? And we have to find out why and who did this. Can you help with that?
I will try.
Okay. What I want to do right now to try to expedite things, okay? But I need your permission, is I want to take your cell phone and download all the information out of it.
Sure.
Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. And then we're going to make arrangements for you to get the kid.
So as soon as her cell phone, she has all these deleted messages on it, interestingly. But as soon as her cell phone gets the discussion of her cell phone comes up, the crying stops. It's like she knows now she's a suspect, and now we're getting the Steely Wendy. So we have it's like a fight between the Steely Wendy and the vulnerable Wendy are having a fight here. And who's going to win? It looks like Steely Wendy's going to win.
Kids, or we'll get the kids somehow, okay? Because the kids are at daycare, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to need their mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. I got to get a form for you to sign, and then I'm going to get the phone started. Okay.
Oh my God. I have a lot of friends.
I know.
How do you know that?
Well, you had two of them up there for a last minute lunch date, right?
Last minute.
Well, I mean, that you went up there, you're sitting with them. You have friends.
I do. What I meant by it is that Danny didn't treat me very well. And I'm
Okay.
so scared that maybe someone did this. Not because they hate Danny, but because they thought this was good somehow.
Oh, are you saying that you think maybe one of your friends would have done something
Who
like
would
this?
do this?
I don't know. That's why you're here, and that's why we're talking. Would you ever ask someone to do something like this?
Not in a million years.
Okay. Do you
That's not a no.
think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you?
No.
What good does it serve?
I made my brother, the one, his name's Charlie, the one I'm really close to, he makes a lot of jokes in bad taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay to fix it or whether I should get a new one, and it was always this joke that, like, he knew Danny treated me badly, and it was always this joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman, and it was cheaper to get you this TV, so instead I got you this TV. I mean, he would never. He's my big brother, and he's been taking care of me since I was little, but he would never. And I told that to the repair guy this morning.
Right. That's okay.
He asked me how much it cost, and I said I didn't know because it was a gift, because my brother said it was cheaper than a hitman. It was my divorce present.
Okay.
Such a horrible thing to say.
Right, her divorce present. So I was right. Yeah. This is like the famous part of this interrogation. It's even convincing in retrospect. Even me who knows that Charlie Adelson, who knows the whole story now, who knows she was involved, even I get sucked in when she starts talking like this. It's so interesting. Who would do this? Who would do this? That's what she keeps asking.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
But even my family, who felt like I had been mistreated, would never do something like this. Never.
Well, you guys have been divorced for over a year. Has there been any type of abuse in that time?
Of him towards me?
Yeah.
No. It's
Yeah, the emotional abuse. That's just like an emotionally abusive person, Wendy. It ends right when you're in the middle of a contentious divorce. Yeah, so she floated out that story that Dan Markel was emotionally abusive towards her. She got other people to really dislike him, hate him. I'm going to end it here. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching that with me. It does go on hours and hours and hours, but I always think the beginning part, when she has the most to lose, she knows she has him right about then. Right then, she just kind of hooked him in. She knew she had the cop. She knew her phone was okay. She's ready to hand it in. And she's surprised that she's not more of a suspect. That's my take. Friday, king of the cold cases. Former district attorney John Lewin has been working cold cases, no body cases, and winning every single one of them for decades and decades, is going to talk to us about how you go about investigating a no body case, like the case of missing Alora Patuan, J.F. Garapace, baby mama, girlfriend, mother of his children. Tune in Friday at 6 for that. Don't miss it. It's going to be really good. Have a great night, everybody.